Finally, a little bit of common sense and some good news in a sea of nonsense. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the judge out in Hamilton County, Tennessee, which is basically Chattanooga, not too far from my current neck of the woods, who struck down the CDC's eviction moratorium. Now, I've spoken about this thing at length. You guys pretty much know what it is. If you don't, I'll tell you right quick before we get to the video of his explanation for striking it down. Now, the eviction moratorium means if you have not paid rent in a while because of the bug or whatever the case may be, you're able to stay in the home that you live in. It's not your home if you rent, but it's where you live. Now, it was set to expire, and it did expire actually on July 31st of this year. But the CDC came and extended it for 2 more months. Now, this striking down not only applies to Hamilton County, it applies to the entire Tennessee and 3 other states. So pay attention, your state could be in this list. But before we go any further, let's roll the clip. In this clip, you're going to hear the judge say what he had to say about the eviction moratorium, why it was shut down, and where else it is not valid. After we get done watching that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what he said there. Then I'll give you my 2 cents, my deep detail analysis, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
The last CDC order that expired on July 31, when that was in effect, the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals in Cincinnati, that's a federal court, that federal court covers Kentucky, Michigan, Tennessee, and Ohio. That federal court ruled as to that CDC moratorium that they did not have the authority, the CDC didn't have the authority to issue an eviction moratorium at all. So they struck it down at that particular time. That expired, I believe, July 31st of 21. This most recent CDC order was issued under the same rules with the same subsections, and the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals opinion still applies to the most recent CDC order. Also, in the CDC order itself, it's several pages long. On page 13 of that order, and I think it's the second paragraph, the new CDC order specifically sets forth exceptions to where that order applies. And one of those exceptions is if a federal court has ruled that the CDC doesn't have jurisdiction to cover eviction moratoriums. So this Sixth Circuit opinion still applies in Tennessee, and they can't use it to avoid paying rent or to delay their cases.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, this is very interesting. So, like I thought, like many of you thought, the CDC does not have the authority to legislate. I mean, that should be kind of common sense, right? Because check it out. You have 3 branches of federal government, right? Executive, judicial, legislative. Where does the CDC fall in there? The Center for Disease Control, where do they fall into the 3 branches of government? I did not know the lady that runs it, Rochelle Walensky, whatever her name is. I did not know that any of you guys voted for her. I did not know that she was in any kind of real authority position to create laws and have us, the American people, abide by them. I had no idea that was constitutional, legal, right, or ethical. Obviously, it's not. And it's not just my humble opinion. It's not just that judge's opinion. It's not even just the opinion of the federal judge out there. What was that, in Cincinnati, Ohio somewhere? It's not just their opinion. The Supreme Court, Brett Kavanaugh said it, put it in writing. You don't get much higher than that when you're talking about courts. Brett Kavanaugh said, and don't quote me verbatim on this, but if you want to fact check me, please do so. Links will be in the box. Google it for yourself. But when the case of the initial eviction moratorium was brought to the Supreme Court, the one that expired on July 31st, Brett Kavanaugh voted against ending it early. But here's what he said. We're not going to end it early because it'll expire anyway on July 31st. And I think he wrote that at the end of June. So it was only about 4 more weeks until it was going to expire anyway. But if there was going to be any extension of the eviction moratorium, it had to come from legislation. That means Congress. You got to pass a law that says that we're going to basically make landlords private property, not their private property. You got to legislate that. You can't just have the CDC come out and say it and then have that be the case and have that be legally binding. No, you need to write a law and pass it, go through the proper channels. You got to do it that way. It's in writing. You can see it in black and white. Anybody can look it up right now. So the federal judge out there in the 6th district said that's what it is. The judge out there in Hamilton County said that's what it is. So if you're thinking that you're going to just stay wherever you live in that without paying rent, well, think again. Depending upon where you live, that's not going to happen. And then beyond the judge out here in Hamilton County, beyond the federal judge in the 6th district, beyond the Supreme Court, the actual paperwork from the CDC itself says that all of this is correct. Because like a judge said, in a particular piece of it, in the new documents that we have from the CDC, their decree or ruling or whatever they want to say, it says if a federal judge or a judge in general says this is not constitutional and it can't happen, if they already struck it down, then this is not valid. And that'd be the case in not only Tennessee, but Kentucky, Michigan, and Ohio. And I will presume all over the country, this would be the case because no judge should allow us to go forward. I think Joe Biden himself even was questioning whether it's legal or not, but decided to do it anyway. They're going to do it anyway and see if anybody wants to stop them, because in reality, we know it's not legal. We know it's not correct. We know it's not constitutional. However, if nobody does anything to stop it, it just kind of let it go on, then why does it matter if it's illegal? Okay, it's just like the whole thing that's going on right now in San Francisco. You know, you got the drug use and selling and the larceny going on. I mean, are these things legal? I don't think it's really legal to do that, but if there's no penalty, if nobody's going to stop them, then what's the deterrent to keep anybody from doing it? Why? Do whatever you want. Legality is irrelevant if there's no enforcement of it. And that's what it comes down to. So I hope that this whole thing takes, it catches steam throughout the country, because it's not right for this eviction moratorium to continue. They're talking about, it'll only be 2 more months. That's bogus. You think that if you've been allowed to not pay rent for a year and some change, that you're just magically going to have money? The judge out there in Hamilton County spoke before, I think it might have been 84 families that were on the docket for one morning, 84 families. And this is not a really big area like that. This is not like New York City or some Los Angeles. Imagine how many families are about to be evicted because they were hooked on the welfare state extension courtesy of the CDC. Okay, you already got all kind of welfare benefits that you were getting before this pandemic. You already have that going on. And then when the pandemic hits, all of a sudden, I can't work anymore. Okay, I'm going to get stimulus checks. I'm going to get state unemployment, federal unemployment, child tax credits. I'm going to get all types of money and goodies and resources and everything else, to the point where it's like, what's the point of going back to work? Okay, you see the help wanted signs everywhere. People talking about, they're doing different jobs, ABL. That's not good enough. Why is it not good enough now? But it was fine before the pandemic, but now it's not good enough. Why? It's because they're getting paid plenty of money to stay home and do nothing right now. Federal unemployment, all the government benefits, don't have to pay any rent. I see people all the time, hair's done, nail done, everything did, fresh tattoos, going on vacation, engaging in Fight Club on Spirit Airlines and whatnot. I see that all the time, and I know what that is. And everybody knows it. It's the elephant in the room. People don't want to address it, but I'm going to address it right now. A lot of low-class people that normally work regular jobs, they say, you know what? Okay, I don't want to work anymore. I'm getting all this free money, this federal money. I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to go to Miami. I'm going to go to Cancun. And I'm going to keep my same hood rat, low-class behavior and take that on the airplane. And don't nobody get offended. It's not even a race thing, because I see white hood rats, Mexican hood rats, Asian hood rats, black hood rats, everybody. I see it all around me, in the South, in the North, wherever I see it. The solution, in my humble opinion, is to stop all this welfare state. See, I was always the kind of guy, as I close, I was always the kind of guy that said, let's end the welfare state, right? Because that's causing a lot of problems. That's subsidizing failure in a lot of these poor communities, quote unquote. But all they've done is expand it because of this virus. They've expanded it. Okay, you got extra federal unemployment benefits. Don't need to pay any more rent. Now they're talking about going further. And when I say they, I mean the far left. They're talking about student loan forgiveness. They're talking about perpetual stimulus checks. I mean, this is just becoming way too much free money floating around, too many people just not working, not being productive. A culture of welfare dependence is happening at a lightning quick pace. Lightning quick. This is why I always say that the Great Society, LBJ, was terrible to Americans in general, but to the black community especially. And what I'm seeing right now is Great Society 2.0. It's really unfortunate. It's really a shame. And I hope we're able to bring an end to it. Shout out to the judge out here in Tennessee for bringing an end to it in Tennessee, or just saying we're not going to have this in Hamilton County. I'm not sure about Davidson County or Shelby County. I'm not really sure about them, but that's a different story. I digress. The whole point is that here in my neck of the woods, we're not going to have this nonsense with the eviction moratorium. If we can only have that same thing echoed throughout the country, then we be doing good, cooking with gas. But until then, if you have rental property, I feel for you. My heart's out to you. But just know it's illegal for them to do this. And it's going to take judges in your area, anybody that is in power at all, to just call it out and actually enforce evictions. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about the revelation from the judge out here in Tennessee? I think the guy was pretty brave to go out there and say something like that. But then again, maybe not so much, because we're in kind of a conservative area. That's why I like living out here. It's really cool. It's chill. You know, not a whole lot of violence and problems. It's a cool place to be. Now, if I was living in Los Angeles County, by the way, I would have left a long time ago. I would have sprouted wings or done something to leave that particular hellscape of an environment. Would have been left. But do you guys think that this will carry throughout the country? Do you guys live in one of the states that was mentioned by the judge? Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan? And how are things going with the eviction moratorium where you live? Are you a landlord? What's happening with yourself, your property, your state, city, whatever? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.